Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Wednesday morning. As we all know, I go back to being the number one greatest dad. Number two isn't here. He's at work or doing something. Or, well, when he's here, he tells people he's at a meeting. So I don't know. But when he tells us he's in a meeting, I don't know where the hell he's at. But
probably at an actual meeting right now, like an actual meeting, like not the meeting, like an actual meeting. And I'm filling in.
I don't know about that. So we're gonna have to find out what meeting means to us, because we now know what meeting means when he says to his wife.
Right.
But you're back in action. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm the second greatest foster dad now. Like, I don't have a kid, so I can be a foster dad right now in place of Gordo. So
foster dad. Do you have pets? Are you like a dog dad or?
I want one, but then it's basically I want one.
5-year-old.
Yeah, I want one. Yeah, I want one. Like, you should hear me try and make my case, right? But I want one, but it's like I don't know if I can handle the responsibility. I'm just being wise, man. Like,
what are you gonna like? What would the pets be? I guess
a cat for sure. I like.
You're a cat guy?
Yeah, I'm a cat guy.
I against cat people. I'm just saying. I'm
right.
As a cat guy.
My friends say as well, like, you're a cat guy. It doesn't make sense. Like, you seem like 100% a dog person. I'm like, yeah, there's something about like their independence for me. I mean, obviously, it might become detrimental to an extent because there are instances where like they don't need you anymore, and they go like, okay, yeah, just feed me. But then I don't know. My buddy influenced me a lot because he was initially a dog guy as well. But then when he had 2 cats, the fact that it was so seamless in terms of him raising them when they were kittens to them growing up to actual cats, it just sold me the experience. It wasn't that hard because he had dogs as well, and he was like, yeah, with a dog, you're basically raising a baby, but then with a cat, you're raising an animal with actual instinct, if that makes sense. Like, it can take care of itself.
It doesn't.
Oh, really? Well, according to him,
so I'm not a cat person, but Matsush says cats don't need any responsibility. They rule their own lives. Yeah, I am not a cat person. First of all, I want to know where the freaking pet is. So I don't want him jumping on my table and all that kind of stuff. You go down there, you stay down there, kind of a thing. That for one, and I don't know, like cats, the whole loyalty of a dog is what attracts me to a dog. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I'm not a cat person. Cats will stab you on the back. You don't take care of the cat, he's gone.
There is this study before where if a human dies, right? If a human owner dies by any cause, right, to their pets, a dog will hold off on eating the corpse, even if they're hungry, out of loyalty, but a cat will just instantly.
Hold on. How did they do this experiment is what I really want to know now.
I can't quote you on that. I can't quote the source right now because I was just shook when I read that, so it kind of didn't register with me. But I was like, yo, really? Like, a cat would just eat right away. They're like, oh, I don't care. He's dead. I'm hungry. I don't care. It's every man for himself.
Man, holy cow. I thought I was going to get a lot of hate, but Sparky Continent says I hate cats.
That's the least.
I am not a cat person. They're cute when they're kittens. And then they're just annoying as fuck when they grow old. And I just don't. The whole loyalty thing. If you like, and I always say this, like the girls are always like, obviously we have like the stitching, which I held up on getting a cat, like any pets, until they were almost like, I think they're teens, both of them maybe. They might have been around like 12 or something like that. But because I don't trust any animal. Even these guys who can only lick you to death, I don't trust any animal. I almost killed the bunny once because it scratched Jasmine's leg when she was like 3 or something like that. But so we held off. But Sorzi says 3K loves it. I think that's changing. There's something happening over there. Yeah, really? That's like the stray cat thing back home. Well, there was a stray dog thing back home too, but I think they're kind of like trying to eliminate that. The whole European Union, what have you. You can't have animals just running around. Yeah, there's like cats everywhere back home because people like feed them and stuff like that. And obviously they'll come if you feed them. Like if you ever go down the street and you see a homeless person, they have a dog. Because the dog doesn't care if you're homeless or if you live in Polish Princess Castle or whatever, right? Like the dog is there loyal to you. That's what I like about like dogs. Cats, they're like, dude, this is really cramping my style. And he's just gonna fuck off.
So whenever you're back home and you see cats on the street, it irritates you.
No, I really don't care because they're not my cats, and they're just like and they're like
do they go
they're
near
not like needy cats. They're like, I'm good.
you? Okay, so they don't go near you and stuff like that. Because
I mean, they'll come to you. They're very You know what I find? Speaking of like animals that will come to you, like this is turning out to be a Monday show more than a Wednesday show.
Right.
But like when I was in London, like the squirrels in the parks were a lot friendlier than the American squirrels. I do not know. I mean, anybody who's like lived in England and stuff, I don't know if it was just like a London park thing, and they were like, "Oh, it's tourists," kind of a thing, and they were friendly because our campus was like right in the middle of like Regent's Park in London. So it's like around the campuses, the base of the Regent's Park, and there were like freaking like squirrels everywhere, and you could just like you could like feed them from your hands.
Oh, really?
Over here, I look at them, and they start running away. The American squirrels are a lot shyer.
Same here, and it's New York, so I'm surprised the squirrel didn't chase after me, right? like I've seen
over here, the squirrels pull out a gun.
Right, they pull out a gun. Like I've seen some mad aggressive pigeons walking the streets of Manhattan, man. I'm just like, it's New York. Yeah, it's New York. I get it.
It's tough out over here in the streets. Yeah, I mean, it's the rugged individuals about the U.S. that has bled into the wildlife. Yeah, I find that like a real weird phenomenon. And I don't know if I was like, Ace Ventura in London, like I would come out and the squirrel would come out to me. But it was, you could go to a squirrel and you would like reach out your hand, and similar to how a dog and like cats would do, they would like sniff to see like what you have in your hand and stuff. And you could literally like feed them, and they would be like, because if you sat on a bench and ate a sandwich, like they would just like jump on and a bite maybe, like they would just like sit next to you and they would just like hang out. So I don't know, like that's kind of like a weird phenomenon. But yeah, so how are you enjoying the international break? Taking time off? Are you watching anything? What are you doing?
Taking time off mostly, but then checking social media every now and then to see if some unfortunate motherfucker got injured, like knowing our luck. But thankfully, none yet. Although, yes, I did see a headline this morning about McAllister getting a really bad tackle and him having to be subbed off. And I'm just like,
the 90th minute. I didn't watch the game. I looked at it afterwards to see how many minutes he logged, him and Diaz, and they both put in the.
They both put in the 90 minutes.
I saw Diaz did the full 90. Like he never even came out. McAllister did come out, but it was the 90th minute. So like a Klopp resting substitution.
Yeah, it's
88th minute. They're like, why don't you take the last 2 minutes off?
This is as good as it gets, man. 1 minute of rest, 2 minutes of like actual rest. Like, come on. If there's one person who's being sent out there to play in the internationals who needs an actual break, like I know Van Dijk got sent back. Due to an injury, right? Although it, right? We all know, right? If there's one person, it's Alexis McAllister. Like, come on, it's ridiculous.
I didn't even look at yesterday's. I know when I saw like the people involved. When you look at the Dutch lineup, it's a very much a rotation Dutch lineup for the most part. There were a lot of like people getting opportunities. So. Even Gravenberg came in the 71st minute, looks like. And Gakpo came in the 77th. So they pretty much took the day off as well, which is fine.
I love how Gravenberg is first choice as well for the Dutch national team.
New Argentina kits are some of the prettiest kits in recent memory, says Matush. I mean, as our American scouts are fashion experts, correspondents, if you will, I will have to take his word for it.
I saw it this morning. It's pretty nice. It's pretty slick.
Now you guys are gonna have to make me look. I mean, this is from yesterday's game, I'm assuming.
It's
not the traditional stripe. Is it this blue one?
It's the blue one with the classic Adidas logo, like the leaf,
and then like a light blue trim.
Yeah, light blue trim. Hold on, let me actually send the link here.
I'm assuming it's this right here. I'll share the image. So we're.
Oh no, that's not it. That's not it.
This is not it.
Yeah, I'll send it on the private chat.
I mean, that's nice and all, but it's not all that. So you guys,
it's not. No, that's not all that. Like we've seen a million of those.
Jaw dropping or something.
Yeah. Send it over in the private chat. It's worth the hype, I would say.
Let's see. Let's pull this up. Are you guys serious?
It's the white one, right? Like the white and blue one. Yeah.
I mean, okay, this is like the same jersey they've had for like the last. They just made it thicker.
It looks slick as hell, man.
Come on.
I don't
Really?
know. Like I'd wear that, and I'm not Argentinian, and I don't particularly care about the national team. I'd wear that.
This is a I mean, this is an Adidas thing where they made the stripes just thicker. Like basically, they took the Fenerbahce jersey became the same thing.
Why do
The
I feel
plastic
like
stripe just became thicker.
Why do I feel like you're just giving Matusha a hard time?
I'm just being serious. I'm just being serious. Like they just made the lines thicker. I mean, you guys made it sound like it was like groundbreaking, and it's the same jersey. They're like, why don't we make the lines thicker? Come on, man. Like, wasting my morning over here. Jeesh. Love the new Adidas Liverpool kit. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I don't know.
I haven't seen that.
It's red.
I mean,
and it says the Adidas logo. I didn't think it was. I mean, I'm just kidding, but I didn't think it was, anything that special again. But something on my nose. I don't know. Yeah. I know. I didn't think it was.
Well done, boys. Good process, says Tim.
Good process. We looked at the thing. Good process. Let's talk about this over here. Since you guys wasted time with this jersey nonsense, let's talk about some like Liverpool stuff. That is such a lame jersey. Really.
It looks very minimalistically slick. I don't know. You're not a minimalist fan? No?
I mean, I'm not against minimalism, but when somebody says, dude, did you see Argentina's new kits? And I go and look, they're like, oh, they made the lines wider.
I guess
it's kind of a downer.
we may have hyped it up a little too much. Okay. Like maybe if we dialed it down to 5, maybe you would have been more
if it was like, oh, the new kits look better, I'd go take a look and be like, oh yeah, they're better. But you're like, dude, you gotta see these. Yeah, it's not gonna work. I'm not doing that. Okay, next fixtures up. This is the league. Obviously, scattered in there are the Real Madrid game, and I think like 2 other Champions League games. And I think at the very end comes the Southampton League Cup game. So away at Southampton, which this is a game that I worry because it just feels like I don't hear. I was telling Gala this on the Monday Night Podcast too. I don't hear anybody talking about it, which scares the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. Everybody's talking about this like Madrid and City games and almost acts like those are the first games we're playing. Yeah. It's good that a lot of the guys got rest. I mean, apart from McAllister and Diaz, everybody's going to come in and play like a regular game because they played yesterday. They're going to play the weekend again. It's Sunday, so they're getting an extra day over there. But I guess the question that Anfield Rap was asking on the tweet was, out of these games right here, 6 games, 18 potential points. How many do you expect?
I saw someone on the Discord say they'd run away with 14, and I would agree, but I realistically think we can go 16 here. And Southampton game, I get what you mean. I wouldn't be surprised if we drop points in the Southampton game and then win everything like the rest of the way.
Honestly, it would be very old Liverpool. Like I'm hoping we've kind of changed that mentality, right? Like he's a bit more, game prep and opponent prep in terms of, while we do things differently against different teams kind of a thing. Sparkus has 12. I guess the question and the other questions, because I was asking Gally what it would take to make him giddy, like if he was giddy yet or not, and what it would take him. How many points? Because I was saying if we get 15 out of these, regardless of where the draw comes from, even if it comes against City, I would say, I would be on the bus with Kazi on the parade bus waiting for it to start, because I would think that's kind of like the tickets. There.
Same here. If we get like 15, 16, or God forbid 18, I don't know. I'd have one foot on the bus, but not both feet in. I'd just be like outside, like still putting my ticket in. Not yet. I'm going to stand by what I said a few weeks ago, where I would be feeling things if by February we're at a great position and we're healthy.
February?
Right. Because last year I didn't feel anything until Nunez hit that header against Forest.
Forest game? Okay.
Yeah, Forest game. But then by then, what my optimism kind of threw out of the window, like through my logic threw out the window, was the fact that we were extremely depleted in terms of like people. Like we did not have enough heavy hitters to kind of sustain us over the title race. And when they came back, they were kind of out of form, kind of rusty, stuff like that with Trent and all those guys. So if we're healthy by then, and we're still in that respectable position, like a few points clear or something like that, that's when I'll be on the bus with you and Kazi. But even if we get like
how many points clear in February?
4. Four or more, I would say.
Cersei says, just why did you wait till May?
Right, Cersei, and this is why at the end of the year you're so fucking depressed, man. Like, how about you tone down your expectations a little bit, my friend?
13 to 14 out of the 18, says Matush. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, 16 would be gold, right? But I would take a 14 as well. I think we're gonna have to get like an American Scouts or cat for John. See what happens. But no,
I'll name him Ryan.
I know what you're saying. I mean, right now, for example, I'm more like, oh, this is pretty interesting over here. Kind of a mode. I'm not doing the Kazi over. We got this title. We're gonna win it by January, kind of a deal. But that's why I'm saying, like, if we get 15 out of 16, first of all, I personally think if you get 15 out of 16, well, if the draws against City, even or if the draw we would beat City, that's another 3 points you're tacking on, right? But if the draws against City, I really think you probably kind of extended the point difference with those other 5 games you won. So you would be up on City by 7-8 points. And by then, I think you're above Arsenal. If you're winning all these games, probably you're at least keeping it the same, because Arsenal will drop points as well. So I really think then I would be like, holy cow, we got a title. We're getting this thing. I wouldn't be, like, oh, we won. And, I'm not even watching the games anymore kind of a thing. But that's the problem. Draw City, Spurs, Newcastle. The first game is going to be interesting. This weekend's game should be interesting as well, actually, because
City play Tottenham as well, right? Like before us.
Like this weekend. That's the game.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Actually, we'll be doing like a live watch along for that one. I'll be hosting it. Whoever the heck jumps on from us. But yeah, 11:30, Central Time. I just want to see how how City shows back up after international break. They just signed Pep to an extension.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday. Does that signal that there is... Well, Alan, meanwhile, said, I can't stand cats and dogs. Like, animals in general. Because I'll be honest, any other pet is kind of like...
Kind of like what? Like... weird. I remember Gordo telling me he went to an exotic reptile showcase.
Yes.
How do you feel about having it? No.
I'll pass.
You'll pass. I think it's cool, but then I feel like I'll be freaked out at some point when I forget that I have this pet and I just see it like in its enclosure. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Because I had this friend.
I want the animal to be able to roam around. I would feel bad if I'm keeping an animal caged.
That is true, because I had this friend whose house I went to frequently. He had a pet tarantula, and there was one time I forgot he had a pet tarantula, and then I was just looking at the enclosure, forgetting that there was something in there. Then when I saw something move, I was like, holy shit, and then I ran like I moved a few meters. So I was like, yeah, those exotic pets, I don't know, man. Like,
I wanted to get a meerkat, but you got to get a bunch of them. You got to have the whole. We had this whole thing set up in the house where Jasmine moved out, which she has. I still haven't started the meerkat housing project. But you need all the sand tunnels and stuff. We're gonna do this thing and get some meerkats.
Right? Don't those guys like burrow a lot? So how's that gonna work?
You have to have like a thing. And Alan says they shit all over the place. I don't know if he's talking about the meerkats or the cats and dogs, but and then Jasmine wanted to get otters, so we had another huge project to make like a huge aquarium down the hallway downstairs.
Holy hell!
Have, like, otters going around.
That is a massive project, though. If you're
any animal, that I feel like kind of
because they have to have room, though.
And that's why I feel like if they get a reptile or a gerbil, and then fish, I don't know, any animal you can just flush down the toilets. It's just like, we had fish back in the day. I always tell the story like we had like when we were like first at a house. You like it's almost like we were like at an own apartment. We're like, now we gotta get animals. AJ already had all this like aquarium stuff, so we were like, oh, we'll just go get some fish. So
funny story. Fish. Funny story. My first pet was a fish, and when it died, I remember it's a traumatic memory. I was absolutely bawling. Like I was crying my eyes out when it died. Like because obviously it was my first like concept of death as a kid. So when it died, like I think I named him Lucky. He was not so lucky, ladies and gentlemen. So he passed away like in like 2 weeks.
Did you do the unlucky? No, I tied it into Liverpool.
Right.
No, like we bought fish. I picked 2 fish, and then she picked 2. She picked these ugly ones that are going around, and I had like the whole thing. So her fish, the ugly fish, were jealous of my good-looking fish. So they're constantly, we didn't realize, of course, like they couldn't coexist together.
Right.
So they're like running around, like nibbling on mine guys' fins because they were like fancier and stuff like that. And then, they all died. Well, mine died first because they were constantly being harassed by the ugly fish, bullied around. And then I was like, any animal we can flush down. And then, they don't do anything. Like, they're never a pain in the butt either. Let's face it, Stitch and Leo can be a pain in the butt at times. But they just don't do anything. So, you're looking at him, he's looking at you. There's nothing going on. But I can see as a kid, like when you lose it, like the first thing you lost for good kind of a thing too. And so this says meerkats are ruthless. That's why I want them, man. Gangster OG. That's the kind of pet I want, that's gonna go around like.
You sound like you sound like the kind of dude, Tim, who would need someone taken care of every now and then,
I mean, fish need taken care of too. You gotta fucking feed it. It's not like it's haunted.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. Taken care of.
Oh yeah.
And what do you need meerkats as well? You need the ruthless pets, right?
So if you don't create the shorts for the website,
all right, yeah. Why do you think I was
visits?
Right. Why do you think I was sweating that we couldn't like make some shorts and everything, and then the subscriber count like essentially froze? I was like, oh shit.
It's the Turkish thing. People think I'm always associated with the Turkish mafia, which I might not be. So you I would say you'll never know, but you don't want to know.
I have a friend here, man, who owns an Italian restaurant, and we always joke with him that's a money laundering scheme because his parents are actually from the mob. So the food's good though. The food's fucking good. Like if ever you're in New York, I can hit you guys up with him. Like food's good. So
well, actually, we're thinking of doing the New York thing. I don't know if it happens. One of my ideal concepts is when we do the Carragher Foundation one, maybe doing it at Carragher's next year if we are able to. I don't know if the next one will be, but eventually one of these will be doing it over there. I mean, they joined the show last year and stuff like that, and then maybe Jamie can put in a good word for us. We can get a room where they record the podcasts.
Right.
Maybe we can have that room and kind of like record over there. Timuchin has a Turkish Olympic shooter on speed dial.
That guy.
Episode should be titled "John and His Friends." John has friends in high places.
I don't.
Serving pizza across the New York area over there. But okay, let's get back to this. Oh, by the way, talking about back to Pep. I don't know how that be. We went from Pep back to animals again. But,
right.
Alan came in and started hating on all the animals. Does that signal that there's nothing coming out of the city thing?
That's what I thought initially. So when I saw the headline, I was like, "Oh shit!" So nothing's happening here, is there? There's that.
Or did they say, "Dude, we'll drag this thing another 2 years at least. Don't worry about it."
That's the glass half full thing that I'm looking at. But with this whole city thing, I don't know, man. I think the reasonable approach to this whole thing is a glass half empty thing, where I feel like they're confident in what they have. They're confident in what they could present to a court or whoever governing body, right? And they say like, "Oh, this is going to keep working. We keep this project going." And it's worrying. It's worrying. And it's great, actually, that this year we could hypothetically, like us or maybe Arsenal, can break the city streak. But then if they do win again, how long is it going to be now, the streak? How many years in a row? Like, I don't know, man.
No, did Pep? I don't know. I honestly don't remember. I have to go back and look because I haven't
Right.
following his career. But when he left the other 2 gigs,
Mhm.
did he leave it? I think one of them, Bayern, he left it on top.
Oh, for sure. Because Bayern were like, before Leverkusen won the league last year, they were like a decade straight, right?
Yes.
Like in terms of like, I think Klopp was the last manager who won the Bundesliga.
I think so.
Yeah,
I actually think so. Yes.
Yeah. So,
so I don't know if you would want to be part of a project that's on the decline. I don't know if they would be on the decline. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
for sure.
I'll be honest. Like when I heard the news, I think I saw it on Discord when like Sergi or somebody posted it on Discord, and I was like, "Oh shit!" That pretty much says. And I don't even know. I just more like want to see like justice served more than it's not like anything is going to change in the past. What's happened has happened. But you would hope that there will be some kind of justice served, and if there is any kind where they get a transfer ban, or now that the books are legit, but here's the problem: if they get nothing out of this, that means you can do whatever the hell you want
and get away with it.
Yeah, and then they can sign fucking another like 5 guys for him this summer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And honestly, I mean, if you think about it, if Rodri was back right now,
City would probably.
Yeah, right. They would be right back in action. I don't even know how much they've dropped. I think that's why the Saturday game is interesting. The Spurs is I think the ideal team to kind of go against them and hit them on the counter because they are susceptible to getting scored on. So that'll be interesting. Having said that, Pep is smart enough to come up with a system for the Spurs high line.
Yeah, I don't think Ange has the facilities to. I don't know. Like I know Spurs have been Cities historically like their bogey team under Pep, but I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of overhyping that thing a little bit, and it'll come down to us just doing our business at home next week, right?
And one of those guys, I think that's based, and that's what I kind of like about Slot. Yes, we do certain things a certain way, but we do tweak things around a bit more.
Oh yeah, for
than
sure.
Normal. I mean, every team tweaks it a little bit, basically, based on who are playing. And we did it under Klopp and stuff too, but it was like the main things. I mean, heck, like yesterday, you're watching Turkey. I mean, they played against Montenegro, and like I thought, really, like in the 15th minute, the farmer was gonna come in and kick everybody at him. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I just planted over here yesterday. It literally looked like a potato farm, and it had been raining nonstop, I guess. So, I mean, looked like the fields I used to play on back home in high school. Like literally, we played on fields like that. The ball would you would pass the ball to the guy and it gets stuck. You're like, oh shit! Like you have to just go back and get it because it felt short and stuff. So, I mean, it was that kind of a field. Instead of changing how they played how they normally play. So all these high technical players like Arda and stuff like that, trying to do short passes. Well, the passes are not going because the ball is not rolling properly. So you either have to overhit it, and now you overhit it, and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to going out there with a physical team that's kind of handled the weather.
Right.
So when you play against a team like City, I don't know if you want the line as high, but I just don't think it's a team that changes its skin.
How much do you think is it being the fact that Slot is still kind of integrating his style into the team? Why he's not sort of, because I get it. Like you can integrate, different variations of the style depending on the opposition. But like players are creatures of habit, right? They want to do things, and if you keep doing reps, you're going to excel at it. And this is why Klopp was so successful with that high line that we had. Obviously, the timing had to be at the nanosecond, right, to put that offside trap and everything, which is why he kind of just said, okay, we're just doing this strategy regardless of whatever the players play. Like, how much do you think is the fact that Slot is new, and do you think, like, as the years go by under him, we're probably going to shift back to the whole Klopp thing where Slot has this one distinct and effective style, and we're going to stick with that no matter the opposition? This whole adjusting thing is just because of first season.
That's interesting. I mean, you might have a point there. I mean, you might be right where he's like, once we get like all the gears working the way he wants,
right.
He's like, this is the way,
right?
This is the way. Play like that. So, I mean, you might have a point there. I don't think so, based on things he says after games.
Right.
Like it feels like there's a lot more, and you might like that, you might not like that, because I mean that's why I was like asking, because some people were like, if we do what we do right, we do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you like go back to football, like American football, like if you're like, we're a running team, we run. Well,
Right.
if they're like, if they're like preventing you from running, loading up the box, then you're gonna have to pass, you're gonna have to adjust. But nope, if we do what we do right, we're gonna go through them. Some coaches are like that. Some coaches just based on like things he says pre-match, post-match, and stuff like that. I just get the sense that we kind of look at the opponents and we tweak ourselves a little bit to be more effective against them. But having said that, you might have a point. He might be doing that now because he feels like we don't have exactly what I want yet.
Yeah. A style. Yeah.
But like I say, just based on how he's saying stuff, I guess we're not going to know this we were talking about this, like how many transfer windows before we're like, oh, okay, like this is the guy, these are the guys that he wants, and when that would it start in January, would it start in summer and stuff like that. And we're talking about that on Monday with Gally. I think we're both torn because there's a thing about, Jamie Carragher was talking about, Liverpool should go all in and add what they need. Make some moves in January. And I can see it if it's a guy like Zubimendi and stuff like that. But getting a left back or something like that we might feel is a need down the road in the future or whatever, there's a thing to be said about the balance in the locker room and the team and stuff like that you don't want to shake up and kind of like destroy things and come in January, because that goes back to why you're not confident until February.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
Things can go south.
Yeah,
fast.
it can go absolutely tits up immediately. Like I keep saying, like, and this is why that slide tackle to McAllister kind of worried me, because, like I'm saying, one injury to Gravenberg or McAllister, and we're probably digging down the bottom of the barrel in terms of substitutions there. And I'm more on the camp of Jamie, actually, Tim, considering our position right now and the fact that, listen, we tried to go for Zubimendi, and he didn't. He kind of rejected us, and then now he's kind of softening his stance. Like, I get the whole pride thing. Like, he didn't accept, and go fuck yourself, right? But at the end of the day, we're trying to win leagues, and the last time we did that, kind of strengthening. I remember Luis Diaz, right? We got him, and we were kind of we weren't out of the title race then, but we weren't necessarily like locked in 100%, and that could be like the thing that sort of galvanizes that run. I don't know. Just looking back in terms of like the the track record on the club. That being said, there's also the argument that you mentioned over the locker room balance and everything, and we don't even know like if this dude comes in, fills in for a Gravenberg or a McAllister at some point, and he doesn't live up to the standard, and our play suffers for it. It's a double-edged sword, but I feel like having that insurance policy, that guy who we could say, okay, so if one of these guys aren't up to it, we can put him out there. It just makes me feel better.
I think that position you can say is a need. Like, you don't have the numbers for, so that's fine. Like, you get somebody in the middle there, because let's face it, like, you have two spots. You have 3 players who can play there.
Right.
I guess Endo, 4 players, but I don't think Endo fits. So we're back to 3 players in my mind. So you put somebody there. I mean, that's when I guess Endo is like, so am I going somewhere then? What the hell kind of a thing. But so, I mean, getting somebody there, I don't think shakes the balance as much.
Yeah.
You can even, if that guy's not up to par, you can actually use him as a rotation piece. And like have him come off the bench and get McAllister 20 minutes rest, 30 minutes rest, or whatever.
Yeah.
But, when you talk about other needs for this team, like I know everybody says like left back, we don't know Trent, so you can say right back. You get like left back on the squad. Then you have Robertson saying, so am I done then? What's happening here? And then you have like Costas in the background, like pouring tea, like pouring coffee for Mo. He's like, so who's going to pour the coffee if I go? So he's trying to stick around. That shakes the balance, especially when you have a guy like Costas, who seems like a guy who's liked in the locker room, right? Mm-hmm. And then B, Robertson, who's like one of the leaders and, like the OGs, if you will, in that locker room. So you don't want to upset those guys and the balance. But if you get a guy like Zubimendi for that spot, I think everything is going to be like I don't think it affects the balance at all. There's a lot of rumors about Chiesa going to Italy. I'm not buying it yet, but then we'll see in December if we how much of him we see, and more importantly, how he does. If he shows up and he's gone again, I can see him saying like, "Yeah, maybe Premier League is not for you." Let's address this real quick. A bunch of comments coming in. Do you guys think announcing Pep as extended for a year is a psychological thing for their fans and players getting losing 4 in a row?
Could be.
It's a win, right? Because I know they were talking a lot about so many unknowns. So you eliminated one unknown. Like there's already this court going. And I think, talking about a psychological thing, I mean, we were just talking with you, John. We see that and we think, okay, there's not much coming out of that. So it kind of eases everybody's mind.
No, yeah, for sure. I feel like, it's a lot of, I want to say damage control, because like if we're looking at it from an objective standpoint, City are struggling, and I say struggling like very generously because they're still second in the league and can still go on a realistically like long ass run towards the end of the season. They're missing their best player.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not one for excuses. Like if you put in your guys there, you expect them to play to their absolute potential, regardless of who's injured or not. But losing a player like that was kind of us like losing Van Dijk a few seasons ago, and we had no CBs because everyone else was injury prone. Like we can make that argument for a lost season. So I understand the decision. Whether or not it's a psychological thing isn't. It's like a good story, right? It's a good story that ends with a cliffhanger. It's up to interpretation for it.
Yeah.
And for me, I interpret being more cynical getting into this channel. I interpret it as the fact that they could see things going their way over the next few seasons, but in terms of factual knowledge, what we know right now, it's basically them saying, yes, this season could be a lost one, and we can go again next year, realistically. Because we're losing our best player. We're missing our best player, and then next year, when he's healthy, we can go again and win it. That's
we should do that, by the way. Now that you mentioned that, like we just did like a recruiting post. We should do something like that. You're like, you have too much of a positive outlook on life. You want to get grounded,
right?
Join us.
Yeah, you want to be exposed to reality. You want to see how life is really like supporting a football club. Well, look no further at American Scouts.
Change our opinions on players at the club. There's every opportunity for us to look past Zubi wanting to stay over the summer. Clearly, it was a mentally easy decision. Yeah, I'm not holding it against him, and he might have been like, I mean, yes, it was a tough decision, you could tell. And now he has more time to think about it. And he might, I mean, I'm not going to be like, there's all these people like, if he said no once, shut up. Like, first of all, everybody's coming in for the money. Why don't you go give one of these guys $10 an hour and see if they're coming over to Liverpool and how much they love the club and the city and stuff like that. It's all about the money. These guys are professionals. So I can understand like him having a change of heart, given the situation at the club. And then maybe they had a lot more time to talk and be like, maybe it wouldn't have been that bad, man. Kind of an ordeal. Like, because I think a lot of people, because we see these guys moving around so much, underestimate the impact it has when people go to work at a different country where they don't know anybody. They don't know they might not know the language. You're changing your entire environment. If you have kids, you're changing your schooling and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, heck, Slot's family is still back home. So that's why he says he's cramming every night because there's nothing else to do, kind of a thing, because his family is not there. So there's like a lot of things that go into it. And that's why sometimes people come in and like struggle and stuff like that. I remember Saboslight talking about, and, like being kind of like depressed and stuff like that initially, because there's like, you don't know anybody. It's not an easy change. Just think if you were moved to another city in the US and started over because you got a new job, you got a promotion, blah, blah, blah. It's a hassle. And you're still in the freaking US and you know the country and all that, you know the language and all that shit.
Yeah,
and you know the culture. So going to a different country is probably like 5 times as hard. So it's a big decision, especially when you have kids. We kind of like treat these guys as like, what's the big deal? So if he has changed his mind now and feels like he can make it happen, more power to him. Just like bring him over.
And we got a league to win. Like, regardless of whether he fits or not, it's still a body that can possibly fit and relieve like McAllister or Gravenberg on our way to, you know, challenging for the league.
Yes.
It alleviates a fear, right? It's a good safety blanket to have, which is why I'm all for like going for him.
Do you think his decision making? I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, and maybe like, you know, like looking too much at the human side of it. Do you think a part of it was he didn't know what he was coming into, because nobody expected this?
Oh yeah, he didn't know. New manager, massive expectations as well. Like, because if we didn't make top 4, like a lot of finger pointing is going to happen. Like, he's seen over the last few years the heights that Liverpool have to reach, like keyword have to reach, in order to kind of, and I'm not saying like he's afraid of the bright lights or anything. Like, maybe a certain situation was better for him, or this situation was better for him now, and then he's realizing like, okay, like maybe I'm up for the challenge. Like, maybe this is something I want at this point in my career to prove that I can, as Batu said, like not anything is set in stone. Like, you can change on a dime. And, you know, listen, if he wants to be here, that's good enough for me, I would say. And the fact that it's going to help us win the league is just icing on the cake. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. As long as he helps us do that, I really don't care. As Spikey says, Pep wants to make City 2.0. Pep is not the kind of guy that likes the second edition of anything, is what it comes across to me. But I mean, and honestly, I would think Kevin De Bruyne is his boy, and he knows how he can use him sparingly. So I would think that kind of means he would kind of stick around there. But I mean, heck, the Saudi clubs were sniffing around Ederson last year too, so it's no guarantee that, you know, they're not going to lose Kevin De Bruyne to a Saudi club in the summer. I mean, the biggest piece they're missing is Rodri, because it's the guy, like, you know, I mean, it's like us missing Van Dijk or Mo, probably. I mean, those are the two closest I can think in terms of shaking everything else around them, because so much depends on them. And that's why maybe it's fair that, you know, you kind of wait till February before you get giddy and stuff. But I'm telling you, if we go to these fixtures right here and we start, because I really think this weekend Arsenal plays Forest at home, which we know, Slot knows, is a tricky fixture. And City plays Spurs. So I can even see 3 weekends in a row where we come out of the weekend and saying like, holy shit, that was sweet, where people lose points and we gain on one or two of them, not gain on, but like kind of like extend it even further kind of a deal. So it's going to be interesting. We'll do the live watch along on Saturday. So do tune in for that. We'll watch it together and see what the hell is going on. Chat as we watch, kind of like an ordeal. Ali is back in action. Let's talk about that a little bit on the way out. Because here's what makes things tricky. I am from the camp that if Ali is there, Ali plays.
Yeah, same.
Right? How soon do you play him? Does he play against Southampton?
No. I would no. Real Madrid for me.
See, that was my fear. If he doesn't play against Southampton, do you make Ali's first game against Real? Because if you don't, then it's against City. Like, either way, you're making him start at a tough game.
I just feel like it's fair to Keller to at least give him the league game. Like, I get it, like he's coming fresh off the cold and all, like, but you need your biggest players for the biggest games for me. And
Ali is not your biggest player though, so that's what the dilemma is.
No, he is one of my biggest players. That's why I'm putting him against Real Madrid.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. I'm putting him against Real Madrid. And, you know, all due respect to Keller, is fine goalkeeper, but Alisson's just different level.
Yeah, I mean, Ali is Ali. I mean,
yeah, and the fact that you're you know, the reasoning he's out from the cold and everything like that, he is different level, right? So I expect him to be fine regardless of what happens there against Real Madrid. So I'll put him Real Madrid, Keller against Southampton, I would say. Then we go from there.
Like it says, give Ali 20 minutes Southampton. I am not for that at all. Just not to mention the injury he's coming back from. I don't want a guy called off the bench coming in, like warming up a little bit and coming in. He's going to kick one ball and then freaking pull a hammy again or something like that. I'd rather have him, like, you just got to go all in. You got to figure, like, and maybe he just came back to training.
Where are you at with it?
I'm nowhere with this. Don't ask questions. Just answer questions. I can go with your plan. I was kind of concerned about having him have Real Madrid game be the first game.
I get it. I get the fear, but then I feel like we gotta trust him, man. Like,
but in some ways, the Real Madrid game has become not as important of a game. Where if he comes in and makes a mistake, it's not as devastating as if he comes against Southampton and makes a mistake, or he starts against City and that's his first game, who makes a mistake. That's, I guess, that's my bigger concern. So the biggest thing to me for beating Leverkusen was, we're in a great situation. I really don't care about the Madrid game, to be honest with you. I really don't. I mean, if it was a draw, even if we lost, I mean, you're never gonna say, lose or whatever. But I'd rather have them focus on the Premier League games. Like, when we're making a lineup, I'd rather have the eye on the City game against Madrid, whatever against happens. I mean, that's the advantage. You put yourself in a situation where you can do that midweek against Madrid just because you won the first 4 games. I thought that was the key thing about winning all those games. New Zealand's, damn, I'm assuming, what time is it over there, Kevin? Because it's definitely not morning. You're definitely not having coffee with us, but you can probably have tea with us.
It's 4:47 a.m.
Really? Then you are having coffee with us. I thought they were would be way ahead. I guess I'm going the other way.
Yeah, in Auckland, it's 4:48. Yeah.
Damn. Well, good morning, sir. You're up early or you're up late, coming from partying. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
Welcome along, sir. Hit that like, subscribe. I always forget to say this, but if you're watching us right now, hit that thumbs up because it does make a huge difference. I'm finding out more and more. It gets us in front of people
Let me double down on your question there. Assuming Keller plays against Arsenal, Southampton. He plays well against Southampton. Alisson comes in, Real Madrid, doesn't put a foot wrong, regardless of result. Who do you play against City?
Ali.
Yeah.
If Ali is there, Ali plays.
Right, Ali plays, yeah, for sure.
It's almost like, this people who are making this argument that it should be, Keller should keep his spot because he's played well. It will be like Kwanzaa having a good run. Van Dijk comes back from injury. We're like, yeah, sorry, man, you're gonna have to sit on the side. What
if Ali's shaky against Real Madrid?
I still think you go with Ali. It goes back to that. You put Van Dijk in, he is that's not the best game. Are you gonna bench him now? No,
yeah.
I mean, you have one of that's what I hate, like how people kind of flip-flop. I mean, we always talk about, hey, you got to look at Keller differently. He is replacing one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Yeah. And then the guy comes back. You're like, I mean, Keller's played well. It's only fair to him that he keeps his job. Which one, man? I mean, the other guy is one of the best in the world. So you're going to sit the one of the best in the world and be like, this young kid is something, isn't he? It doesn't make any sense. So I think, I mean, Slot has said that. And I think, he almost has to say that. And I go back to this. I guarantee you that back four, as well as Keller has played, is a lot more comfortable with Ali behind him than Keller behind him.
Right. Sure.
If nothing else, for familiarity.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's just it's a lot of people got to find things to talk about during this international break.
Yes. Yeah. Fight over. In the world, but yeah, I got to watch Turkey and get depressed over that yesterday. I couldn't even care less. It was weird. Like, we lost. We were pissed, but we were more frustrated and confused. They're in the playoffs now. They might actually play against Robertson or Soboslai. Both are teams that they might face back in March. So the next international thing, now we know when that is. It's going to be in March when they play those teams. I don't think there's another international break until then, unless there's qualifiers or whatever starting. But I doubt it. The Nations Cup thing is not until March, is what I was.
Sir Z puts a good question in here. Like, with Bradley performing now that Trent is out, how do you feel about that, Tim?
I worry, man. And I'm the guy who talks a lot of shit about Trent. But Angel gives me shit all the time that I talk too much shit about Trent. I don't think I do. I was the apologist for Trent the other week where everybody was like slamming. I'm like, holy shit, let's calm down.
I gave him a 3 out of 10. And you were like, whoa, that's not like whoa. Like, if you come into Trent's defense for something, that means something really,
I like Bradley. The only thing I don't like is he dives into tackles too easy. He has that Van Bissaka in him where Like, dude, stop diving. You know,
Yeah.
it has to be. I like how he moves forward, his kind of like positional discipline and stuff like that. Like I said, that's one thing I worry about because he's back there. I'm not any more confident that he's going to be better defensively than Trent.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion as well. Like there are a lot of times where he's trying, but you can see like obviously it's like a different spectrum with him and Trent. Sometimes you don't see Trent try, which is frustrating. Like you know if he tries, he can actually get it done. He gives himself a chance to get it done. With Bradley, he always tries, and a lot of times it doesn't come off. Like he seems very naive in terms of some of his, positioning and stuff like that. He's a young player. It's understandable. Right. But then, and I was one of those people to go like who foolishly, mind you, was going like, hey, maybe it's not so bad. Like if Trent, and mind you, Trent was out for a long time last year. And like Bradley's purple patch was quite good. Right. It was quite good. Like up in there with some of Trent's best performances. But if you put him there, give him an extended run of games and have a decent sample size to kind of look at him, the flaws are really there, especially defensively. So I get what you mean, which is why I wanted to ask, shouldn't Gomez be that default choice right back, right? Like
I would. Like against,
too.
for example, City, I would. Against even Real, I would.
Yeah.
I don't know about the away game at Southampton because it's going to be more of a. But yeah, I personally, I mean, going back to what you're saying, defensively for sure, I would feel a lot more confidence playing Gomez over him. Kel the other day, he's good. He's good. I mean, he's definitely done well. And, you could not expect anything more than your backup keeper to come in and do what he does. He did get injured versus Palace, but again, he got injured kicking the ball weird.
Yeah.
Stop hitting it with the outside of your foot. That's all I ask. Just boot it when you got to boot it. Stop doing this outside of the foot thing. Who is Turner?
Matt Turner? No.
Where is Matt Turner? I wonder if he's talking about the. Isn't Matt Turner American? I'm confused.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he plays for Palace, so he was definitely talking about Matt Turner.
Oh, he was a. I didn't realize Kevin was a Palace guy. Sorry. We will sell Ali and Kelleher when Mamardashvili arrives. Nah.
Kelleher for sure, though. I feel like we keep saying like he has to go out. He has to be first choice for a team. Like imagine if Mama arrives, right, and Ali's still around, like, he's not gonna get a game, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about this on Monday. Maybe Mamardashvili is just an investment. Like he's gonna come in. We're gonna loan him around for a little bit until maybe the Saudis come in and give like 80. He's young for a goalie, especially. He's young. So Kevin is a Palace fan. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I know about Turner, though, man. I am not big on Turner at all, personally.
Yeah, it looks shaky as hell.
But who is Palace's goalie right now? Well, I'm sure like Kevin can tell us instead of me looking around, but
Dean Henderson.
Good old Dean. I don't know. I'm not sold on Dean Henderson either, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously Kevin sees a lot more of them than I ever will. So he's I mean, it's kind of like us, everybody's probably like, what's wrong with so and so? We're like, did you see that game 83rd minutes when he didn't pass? So like we can dissect a lot better.
Right.
See, 24, I mean, that's a kid for a goalie. And so you might loan him a couple of more years until somebody comes around the corner and says, like the Saudis come in and give like 50, 60 for Ali, and then you just bought Ali's replacement for 30, and you bring him in. So, yeah. And Kevin says your 5 points clear after 11 games. Don't complain. No, we'll always find things to complain about, Kevin. That's how we roll over here. John over here was like a young optimist when he first joined us. How long has it been since you joined the channel?
Oh, dude, it's been more than a year. May 2025. It's 2 years, man.
Damn. So in a year and a half, he's aged and matured like 2 decades.
You know that meme, that SpongeBob employee meme? Like at first he's like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like That fish, like, oh man, like I felt that.
Oh man, yeah, that's what we do to people over here. But no, I mean, Kevin is right. I think we kind of this is
it's very first world problems. It's very first world.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
I mean, we're like kind of like nitpicking on he's just not that good. I mean, the conversation is Kelleher or Ali. What the hell are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Those are good. Those are conversations like Crystal Palace fans would love to have, for example. So, I get what he's saying. Got to be more optimistic. I mean, had to be. This is what we do, though, right? We did the same thing last year. You start the season with certain expectations, and then you get freaking spoiled and teased, and then now you got people like Kazi who's sitting on the parade bus waiting for it to take off, and then you got
Sir Z as well getting on my ass for waiting until February. But who's the most heartbroken when the season ends?
Dude, Sir Z is the most negative guy. So like, he just acts a different persona in the comments over here, but yeah. By 30th minute, this is the guy who cancels his birthday plans 30 minutes into a game. So I don't want to hear it. But the boys will be back tomorrow night for the Thursday night podcast. So do tune for that. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'll tell you the final numbers right now. We are at 977.
Let's go.
So let's 23 more suckers.
Yeah,
to get to 1,000. So find a sucker near you, tell them about the channel, have them give us a follow, subscribe. We got all kinds of Premier League content too. Like Kevin, hey, if you want to jump on, we can use the Crystal Palace fan. On our panel. We have the panel show that went on last time. Mecca hosted, filled in for me. I think we had Brentford and Chelsea last night on the panel, but we have like another United person too, so going back to probably having 4 or 5 people on the panel. The Premier League show, so we do a lot of Premier League content as well. But
it's nice to have fans like Kevin who can just keep us steady, right, with our first world problems, right?
Yes,
give us a great perspective into how
that's
reality
what I get out of
is.
that panel show as
right,
well. Like that's why I love the panel show, because we obviously look at everything with like Liverpool glasses, so it's kind of like good to hear like a different perspective coming from a different angle, and what people think about like our players and slot and stuff like that, because whether we like it or not, we do kind of like focus too much, and then maybe that's kind of like zoom out at times and look at things. So but yes, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hit all those buttons down below except the one that's thumbs down, and then we will see you guys tomorrow night, Thursday night's show. And I think the fantasy show is right afterwards this week as well. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. That will be 3 o'clock in New Zealand, I think, according to my early morning math. This is as good as it gets. But have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.